Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And welcome back, everyone. We are on a mission to help you find hope and also joy in your life. How do you harness the power of that? How can you spend every day filled with joy? Is it even possible? We're going to dig deep into that. And she is somebody that helps people all the time find answers to a lot of life's questions through spiritual coaching, personal coaching, relationship, business, and so much more. She is a speaker, a well-known author, and it's so great to have her back with us. Dr. Joanne White is on the program. Hello there.
Hi, Steve. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
I wanted to continue with your resume, hypnotherapist, seminars, workshops, meditation, like...
I'm ancient. I've been doing stuff for a long time.
and for that, we love you because you've got experience and you walk the walk and talk the talk. Past life regression. Let me throw that one in there. And let's go back to the author side. You've written books, but now you're part of a collection of stories, if you will, that provide some insight and inspiration. And this book just got published, right? Tell us about that.
So this is the book about joy. Mission Hope is a series, and the book is rediscovering and embracing the joy within. Now, what's interesting, Steve, is that most people think, okay, joy is about everything that's outside of us. Now, I work a lot with energy, and joy is something that we have to be able to also access within us, because when we do, it changes our attitude, it changes our vibration, and we can talk about that a little bit too. And it elevates us. It makes us feel better. And people say, and I know, people will say, but life is hard. Hey, I know life is hard. I've been through a lot of challenging experiences, including a TBI and other kinds of things. So yes, life is hard. However, there are moments that you can begin to access and feel good about. In my chapter, I was revealing something, and I'll share it with you. A very dear friend of mine recently died, and I was grieving, like we grieve when loved ones die and things happen to them and also to ourselves. And I had tears, and then I started to remember and kind of relive, Steve, some of the wonderful moments, the joyful moments that we shared. And it brought so much joy into my life. Yes, I'll never see that person again in human form. And yet that bond, that connection never dies. And it made me feel good. So go ahead. You want to say something?
That has been my personal discovery, what you just said in the last year or so, that when somebody passes, I believe their energy is still around us. Yeah. And how do I know? I ask for signs and I get them very specific for another podcast. However, I take joy in feeling that and sensing that. And I believe it's real. It's not, I'm making it up in my head because that's what I want to believe. I do believe it. And I find joy in that.
Now you may think I'm weird.
I don't.
Okay. But I also help clients contact people that have passed on, not only people, but animals. And it's amazing the information that we receive. Years ago, I was working with someone, and her ex, she and her ex had a very difficult relationship. We're moving away from joy, but we're really not. Had a very difficult relationship, and he passed on. And when we contacted him, he apologized. He apologized for his behavior, for how he treated her, and asked for forgiveness. And it was a very healing moment. Now, people say that's ridiculous, but like you said, I get signs all the time. When my mother first died, the lights in my office downstairs started to blink a few days later, and I just thought that was her saying, "Hi, I'm here." And a lot of people like you get signed. So, and I actually work with somebody whose son died and he was going to help her write a book. I find it fascinating. So,
I do too. And this, we've talked about this before, but ask for signs. Just ask for them, and then be
yeah.
open to receiving them. I'm not the. I don't normally say, "Show me a insert." Whatever you want to see. I just show me a sign and make it very specific, and that's it. And then I just lean back on it, and I get them.
And the thing is, asking for a sign, it may come in ways that you're not expecting.
Right.
So that's about like you said, that's about being open, and that's important.
Can I share one that I got 3 days ago?
Sure.
Very specific. I'll make it really quick. I was vibing my mom. I'm like, Mom, it's been a while. Show me a sign. And I'm walking through the grocery stores, picking up something for my daughter. She wasn't feeling well. And I passed by Entenmann Baked Goods. It's a bakery. It's been around, in different states, whatever. And I wanted to buy myself a treat. So I stop and I'm like, oh, my mother loved raspberry Danish from them. So I'm like, there it is. I'm going to pick it up. I go out to my car. I look to the window next to me, and there is a van 8 feet away, right there next to me. And the van is an HVAC company, never seen it before. And the name on it is Rose-Air. Her name is Rose. I'm like, oh, okay, thanks. All right, I guess that's my sign. And then I note the time. I was about to start my car. It's 9:42 p.m. And I realized that her phone number was 631-942, number. I was like, Now, anybody could read into that and say, man, but I'm taking it as a sign. It's damn specific for me.
Right. And I think it's great that you do that. I remember one time, and again, this was not too long after my mother passed, I was looking at a newspaper and her name was there. It had nothing to do with my mother, but to me, it was a way of her saying, hi. Now,
Mm,
people don't need to believe it, but it makes you feel good. It makes you feel that that connection is continuing. The friend that I was talking about with the Joy book, um, every once
mm.
in a while, I feel like he's telling me a joke, and I start laughing, and like, again, thanks.
If
Yes.
you feel it, I feel if you feel it, it's real. It's not just, I want to feel it. No, if you genuinely
Right.
sensing that joy. So question on the word joy. Can we find joy in everything, and or should we find joy in everything?
Well, I'm going to go around that a little bit. There are going to be harsh moments, okay, and terrible and difficult times. Again, somebody that you love dies, you're injured or whatever. My way is to be able to create some sense of humor and lightness in the experience and joy because it helps us recover, it helps us move forward, and it's really very good for many things in terms of our body, our health, our resistance, our resilience,
Mm,
all of that stuff. It works with the brain. And so it can be a very healing modality that you utilize and access even during the most difficult times. And
mm,
people have trouble with that, but if you're again, I'm going to talk about energy. If all you're doing is focusing on the pain, the negativity, whatever happened, that's what you're putting out, not only to yourself over and over again, but you're also putting that out in the world. So that energy of negativity, of anger, of hatred, or whatever, that has a much lower vibration than love, than joy, than gratitude. And that's important. And I've talked about gratitude a lot with you.
hmm
Joy, to me, gratitude and joy go together a little bit. When you're grateful for something, there's a feeling of elevation. It feels good to be grateful for something, and they go together, and it's really important. So I don't know if I answered your question. There are going to be, I sometimes I'm going through something and I cry, and then I shift it. So I'm not saying just ignore the pain or ignore, the grief. It's not about that. It's about going through that. But again, then you have a way of shifting it that's going to help you
Mm,
heal, help you feel better, help you help others, whatever you want to do. And it's wonderful.
mm.
Now, there's also external joy. I mean, how many times do you walk by beautiful flowers and don't even pay attention to it?
Yep.
One day I was walking and there was a bush with all these butterflies on it, and the bush, Steve, seemed to be illuminated with light. And I thought to myself, if I had missed that moment, and if I hadn't paid attention to that, I would have missed that beautiful, uplifting experience. Wow, I mean that whole bush was lit up. It seemed magical.
Isn't it amazing that there's so much going on out there, but we don't see it and we underestimate the power of it? One moment of seeing a flower when you needed it or whatever it might be, you may never forget that moment for the rest of your life. You don't know. But we get caught up in this busyness and we don't see the joy around us. And when I asked before about finding the joy, so many of us find the negative and then we ride in that. And then it's almost like it's a habit. We get stuck in that.
It's a choice.
Mm,
Joy is a choice. It's like, where are you putting your focus? Where are you putting your tension? Negativity is around. I mean, like I said, I can feel some of what's going on. I get angry, I get upset, but I also know if I stay there, that's going to stay with me, those feelings, and that's going to be pervasive throughout the day, the night, maybe
mm,
the next day. So that's where the choice comes in. Yes, it's not about ignoring, and I said this because it's important. It's not about ignoring what's going on, what you're feeling. Yes, do understand it, embrace it, but then don't dwell on it. Don't just, okay, I'm just spend days and hours thinking about that because it's not going to change anything. I say to many of my clients who are worried and afraid of something, I said, worry doesn't change anything. If worry would make it better, then I'd say worry. But worry doesn't change anything. All it does is work on you in a way that doesn't make you feel good, that can bring out more stress, that more concern, more fear, whatever it is. So that's where the choice comes in. And
mm.
it's important to make that choice again. And I have to keep saying this because people say, well, what about the fact that I just went through this horrific thing, or I have a disease, or and I'm not discounting that. What got me through the traumatic brain injury was humor. A lot of other things too, but it was being able to get a little silly with my head injury and whatever, so I could laugh and
Mm.
have some moments of joy throughout the pain and the inability to talk and to connect and da 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 da. And sometimes joy is a pathway to our healing and to also open up the door to some more positivity. We need that in our lives. And not only that, like I said earlier, it has some really positive healing effects on our body, on our mind, and we need it. And also, when we put joy out in the world, we change people as well. I go out there and I told you this before, and I make jokes or I tell people wonderful things to make them smile, and then they're walking away smiling.
Mm.
Smiling is a connection to joy, and it elevates your energy, and it allows you to feel good.
It's important, and I see this in what you said, when something is challenging to feel it, to go through the feelings, not just ignore it. I'm just going to make it joy. I'm going to make, no, you got to go through it, but you don't need to stay in it. You can release it and then move forward. Is joy an emotion?
It's a joy is it's a feeling, but it's a vibration. I mean,
Mm.
it's a lot more than just that, but it's something that we feel.
Hmm.
And it's something that's also contagious. So think about that. I
Hmm.
mean, spread so much negativity out in what's going on in the world and also sometimes in social media. Why don't you shift it a little bit? How are we going to change the world for the better? Are we going to do it through hatred, through spew? I mean, or are we going to do it through, and again, I'm not saying ignore what's going on, but through other ways of showing people the good of ourselves, the good of other people. You know, I get angry sometimes at what other people do and their lack of concern for other people, for
Hmm.
animals, for our planet, da 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 da. Um, and then I turn around and look at the people that are putting out so much energy and effort to make those changes, to create a better world, to create better communication between people, between us and other communities, other cultures, between us and animals. There was a, this is going to be silly. I feed the birds and the squirrels, and the other day, rabbits are out again. Okay, so
Hmm.
I had put out, had chopped up carrots, and I had put carrots out one day, and I'm looking out the window, Steve, and this rabbit. Usually, when rabbits see you, they pretend that they don't see you, and they either hide or they're frozen or whatever.
Hmm.
But this rabbit is staring at me, and I'm staring back at the rabbit, and it was a long time. He's outside, I'm inside it, and I'm thinking, oh, he's asking, where are the carrots? Come on, where are the carrots? Give me the carrot, and it made me laugh. I mean, and the next day I put out carrots.
It's not just a rabbit. It's it's energy too.
Right.
That you were probably reading that rabbit. That rabbit was reading you, not just looking at each other. You know, there's more going on there energetically than I think we realize in life in general, with everything.
You know, I have a song that I've created, and I have one that I've made specifically for birds. So, and when I go out and I sing the song to birds, they don't fly away. So maybe they know I'm singing to them, or who knows, or maybe they're having a conversation thinking, she is so weird. Who is
Yeah, let's stay around and just watch her a little bit more. We don't know what they're thinking, you know, but I do feel there's an energetic exchange, even with wild animals, that many of us don't even think about, but it's going on. Other thoughts of joy, anything that you can share with us that can help us harness the power of this?
Okay, so pay attention. Pay attention to, again, what's outside in the world, because your response to it, that's the internal stuff. Your response to it is a choice, as I keep saying that. So, joy in terms of connection with other people, joy in terms of, I love to dance. I have a background in dancing, and after I've had several injuries, and after those, I wasn't able to dance a little bit. And in one of the books that I've written, I'm talking about I was teaching dance in a senior center, and a lot of the people were in wheelchairs, and one guy said, "What are you expecting from us?" I said, "I'm not expecting anything from you, but can you move your fingers? Can you move your head? Can you move your elbows? You're dancing." So,
Hmm.
and then the music went on and we were dancing. They were dancing in whatever way they could. And Steve, the whole room felt like filled with energy and joy. They were smiling. Again, they may not have been able to move, but they were smiling. So I was going through a physical thing one day where I wasn't able to move. I've had injuries, and sometimes the pain of them gets really exacerbated. And I was remembering that moment that I was in the room with the seniors saying, "Well, can you move your elbows? Can..." And so what I did, and it brought me joy, was okay, couldn't move the way I love to dance because I was in too much pain. I didn't want to injure anything. But I was able to do other things that didn't hurt and then didn't cause any external injury, and it made me laugh, it made me smile, it brought joy to me. So you can create joy in so many different situations and so many different ways. And why not? Would you rather dwell on pain, on anger, on hatred, I mean, why?
I don't get it. And I know it's easier said than done, but isn't it true that once everything's a habit? Everything's a habit. So once you get in the habit of getting out of the negativity, yeah, it's going to be there, feel it, move through it. But I guess, trained my brain, rewired my brain, whatever it might be, where if something feels negative or something presents itself, and I look at it, I'm like, oh, I can't even believe that. Like, really? I'm like, I didn't expect that. In the past, that would be me for a day or two, whatever it might be. Now it's like 10 minutes, and I don't even know I'm doing it because I turn around. I'm like, oh, I was thinking about that before. It's like in the rear view, that negative thought, or even a trigger, like, something you're worried about, but it's gone already.
You're so right, and I teach this too, because those habitual thoughts, behaviors, whatever, can continue unless you shift it.
Mm.
So again, it doesn't mean that you're never going to have a negative thought but
Yep.
it's it's also about awareness, okay? So when those thoughts crop up, and oftentimes they come fast, they come loud,
Mm.
but you have to be conscious of it to be able to change it, because I've had to change negative thoughts in my mind a long time ago, and now my mind's peaceful.
Yeah.
So when those negative thoughts come up, like they do, that's part of the programming we have, like you were just talking about, Steve. Shift it. Yeah, you heard the negative thought, it was there.
Yep.
Change it. Now people think, okay, it's going to happen in a second. And suddenly that programming that you've been doing for years and years and years is going to go away. No, unfortunately, it does take some work. But the beauty of it is that because you're really working on some level with that. I've done some research on this too. So when the programming is on a subconscious level, it just keeps popping up. So when you change it, what you're doing on that level is, even though you're doing it consciously, is you're changing the information that you're giving to yourself. Okay. So basically, you've been saying negative things about yourself or life or whatever for a long time, and then suddenly you're shifting it. Your inner guidance, your subconscious, what is listening. Sounds fascinating,
Mm.
doesn't it? And so
Mm.
it begins to shift. And I told you this story. I told you about my mirror writing and how I incorporated all those negative thoughts and feelings in my brain. And but it took work to shift them. And now it doesn't do that. I have jokes with myself, which says, "Come on, Joanne, that's pretty weird."
Nothing wrong with that, though. You know what it almost seems like? It's like the joy filter. That garbage thoughts that you have. And by the way, spot on with those negative thoughts. They come on fast and hard, like bam, what? But
Right.
when you put it through the joy filter, it just, all that other stuff just doesn't make it through, except the good stuff. We're just about out of time. I just got a thought. I rebranded a radio station 10 years ago. The station is called K Joy. And I created a slogan, music that makes you feel good. And that's what it was all about. And it was about spreading joy. And it did pretty well. But it's a feeling. You want to feel good. You want to feel good.
And you want others to feel good too. So spread it
Yeah.
and utilize it to elevate yourself, to help you feel good, to help you get through the hard times, because it really can help you get through it and make a difference in your life. And while you're at it, it can make a difference in other people's lives and even in the birds and the squirrels,
Yeah.
the rabbits.
Don't
And
underestimate, I'm telling you. Best way to find you, and there are some, that need help walking that journey. And you offer so many different modalities to help people harness the power of joy and so much more. What's the best way to find you?
okay, so you can go to my website, Joanne at drjoannewhite.com. You could email me, give you the short version, Joanne at docwhite.org. I'm on social media. And by the way, I didn't just come to just do all this. A lot of the reason that I started to help other people was because I had to work with my own injuries, my own subconscious negative thoughts, my, everything. And I got to a point where I was able to work with those and heal myself. And I thought, well, if I could do that, isn't that my job? Isn't that what I'm supposed to be doing to help others?
Yep.
And here I am.
And you find joy in that.
Oh, yes, I do.
Right? Always wonderful talking with you. The book that we're talking about here, it's a compilation of authors. What's it called again?
Rediscovering and Embracing the Joy Within. And you can contact me for copies, and I'll be happy to send it to you at a special price.
Because we're spreading joy. And this is just one of many books that you're a part of. You run deep, and I mean that in a great way. Decades of learning this in so many different. I don't even have time to get all that you offer. Start the conversation. Go to the website, and by the way, Dr. Joanne White. It's Dr. Joanne with an E White.com. Thank you for today. Looking forward next time we get together.
Thank you, Steve.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
We'll be right back. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Let's go inside the mind of a 10-year-old.
I should have worn those earrings today. I like those earrings. Gabby has those awesome earrings. I need to ask her where she got those, but that's just what she would want me to do. I'll have Michaela ask her for me.
Buckle up, Sarah.
Yeah, but then Michaela will be like, why don't you just ask her yourself? That's just like Michaela.
Sarah, buckle up.
Michaela's such a great name. I wish I was called Michaela. There's like a dozen Sarahs in my class.
Hey, we're not hitting the road until you buckle up, honey.
Oh yeah, seatbelt. I forget sometimes because my brain is busy, you know? I wonder if there's pizza at school today.
Sometimes it can be tough to get through to your kids, but it's not impossible. Always make sure they're wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Remember, you have the keys, you have the power. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.